Yo, tapping in real quick. UFC fight night, Burns versus Brady, and we are staying in the apex for this one. This video right here, this is the full card breakdown and predictions. Now let's go ahead and dive into it. That first fight of the night, this is still a prospect versus prospect situation. It's a fight that was scrapped from last night and has been carried over to this week coming. It's Ramaska versus Fletcher. Now I know for me, my original gut pick was Ramaska, being as though I felt like he was the more dangerous individual out of these two in this matchup, leaving Nathan as the more technical practitioner out of the two in this matchup, but also the one that has the wrestling and grappling in his back pocket and should be able to lock up and secure takedowns relatively easily in this matchup. It's just about what is he going to be able to do when he does lock up and secure those takedowns. Will Ramaska be able to find his way back up and get back to work in his striking department, where I do feel like he's the more dangerous out of the two, but he is a bit too reckless in his pursuit for my comfortability. You understand what I'm saying to you? So this go around for the first fight of the night, prospect versus prospect. I don't really want anything to do with it. It should be a complete pass for everybody, but I'm gonna go ahead and side with Fletcher this go around, just to be the one to go ahead and produce the better body of work over the course of 15 minutes, lock up, secure takedowns, you know what I'm talking about, and stay safe on the feet while keeping it competitive as well, you know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna go ahead and fuck with Fletcher, but like I said, this is prospect versus prospect, so try not to find yourself getting too overly invested into either one of these individuals as of yet. You know what I'm talking about? Ovince St. Preux versus Ryan Spann. Now, me personally, I'm gonna go ahead and rock with Ovince St. Preux to be the one to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. If it finds its way down to the mat via submission, if it stays up on the feet for the full 15 minutes, possibly via clipping and disconnecting Ryan Spann from his consciousness to get the victory via KO, TKO inside the distance, or, you know, maybe it's another split decision type situation, you know, like we had last go around, and I cashed on Ovince St. Preux at plus 500. You understand what I'm saying to you? So it is what it is, you know what I mean? It's St. Preux versus Spann. It's two UFC OG veterans from this division, you know what I'm talking about, and it's all about what version of St. Preux and what version of Spann we are gonna get on Saturday. But St. Preux's won me too much money, man. I can't say the same about Spann. So I'm rocking with St. Preux, man. Wrong Zoo versus Padilla. I'm taking Padilla, and if I'm not mistaken, Padilla's the dog in this matchup, but we are in a doghouse. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I do like what I've seen from Padilla as of yet. But again, this is another prospect versus prospect type situation where nobody should really be too overly invested on either side with either one of these guys, in my personal opinion. We need to see them move forward up against legitimate UFC level opposition before we find ourselves too overly invested in either one of these individuals. Padilla is going to be the pick for me, though. You know what I'm talking about? Gabriel Santos versus Yizza. I don't know how to pronounce old boy's name, but Yizza. Santos, he's 10-2, up against opposition with combined records of 90 wins and 20 losses. Yizza, he's 25-4, up against opposition with combined records of 239 wins, 158 losses. You understand what I'm saying to you? Based off of those numbers, there is quite a bit more fights on the Yizza side of things, with 29 fights to Gabriel's 2. You understand what I'm saying to you? His opposition is 239 wins, 158 losses. Gabriel's 90 wins, 20 losses. Like I said, Yizza has quite a few more fights on his side than Gabriel, though. So those numbers, rightfully so, are significantly more. You know what I'm talking about? percentages between wins and losses, though, not so much so. You know what I mean? And the opposition that Yizza has been up against in these other organizations, you know, over where he's been up against it at, I'm just not exactly that high on that competition over there, but that's just me. You know, I'm talking about Santos. You know, he lost to Onama and he lost to Lerone Murphy. But a split decision loss to Lerone Murphy, that's nothing to frown about, man. As everybody over here knows, I myself am very high on Lerone Murphy. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm not somebody who really frowns on David Onama. You know what I mean? So, you know, we could do without the loss to David Onama inside the distance, but it is what it is. And I know one thing has nothing to do with the other, you know what I mean? I like the fact that he went to a split decision with Lerone Murphy, but this isn't Lerone Murphy. This is a whole nother beast. It's a whole nother fight, you know what I'm talking about? Whole nother fight style. But with that being said, I'm gonna side with Gabriel. You know what I mean? I'm gonna side with Gabriel, 10-2, to move forward to 11-2, and put Yizza at 25-5. I'm just not real high on these guys, man. You know what I mean? And again, this is another prospect versus prospect situation that absolutely nobody should be too heavily invested into, man. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is. Fletcher's the pick, St. Prue's the pick, Padilla's the pick, and Gabriel's the pick. But out of the first 4 fights, that's 6 prospects fighting each other. You know what I'm talking about? Ovin St. Prue and Ryan Spann are the only legitimate levels of UFC opposition out of all of these matchups. These OGs have been around for a minute and they've been up against it. You understand what I'm saying to you? They're battle tested in their wins and their losses. You know what I'm saying? Ramaska and Fletcher, UFC debuters, man. You know what I mean? Prospect versus prospect. Rangzu versus Padilla, prospect versus prospect. Gabriel versus Yizza, prospect versus prospect. This next fight, Andre versus Dylan, prospect versus prospect. I'm going to rock with Andre Petrowski to be the one to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion, though. Whether that's via, you know, clipping him and disconnecting him from his consciousness inside the distance, finding the submission down on the mat inside the distance, or just producing a better body of work in the wrestling, grappling, striking, and just all around over the course of 15 minutes, man. These are 2 wrestlers with overhands, period. You know what I mean? That's what's going on right here. You got 2 individuals who have, you know, very decent wrestling backgrounds and credentials. You know what I mean? Andre, I believe, is more proficient in the jiu-jitsu department. The wrestling is gonna, and the grappling is gonna be very competitive in this matchup. So that shit just might, you know, that shit might exit out. He might X that out, and he might X that out. They just might stay on the fucking feet and get the banging. And then it might be about who clips who and disconnects who from consciousness, man. Might not be a whole lot of wrestling and grappling between these grapplers. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. I'm not high on the Dylan kid in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I picked against him when he came into the UFC against Cesar Almeida, and Cesar Almeida got him out of there inside the distance, as he should have. You understand what I'm saying to you? This one's going to be a bit more competitive, a bit more back and forth, but I am going to side with Andre Petrowski to get it done, man. So it's prospect versus prospect in the first fight of the night, and we're going to side with Fletcher this go around. It's 2 OGs in the second night, and we're going to side with Ovin St. Prue over Ryan Spann. It's prospect versus prospect in the third fight of the night. We're going to side with Chris Padilla to get it done over Rangzu. It's prospect versus prospect in the fourth fight of the night. We're going to side with Gabriel Santos to get it done over Yizza. And it's prospect versus prospect in the fifth fight of the night. But we're going to side with Andre Petrowski to get it done over Dylan Butka. And yes, if you couldn't have guessed, coming up next is prospect versus prospect in Isaac versus Brennan. Isaac, he's 6-1 up against opposition with combined records of 29 wins and 10 losses. Brendan, he's 8-2, up against opposition with combined records of 46 wins and 42 losses. Just not a great level of opposition on either side for either one of these guys, in my personal opinion. And Isaac took that loss to Christian. You know what I mean? It is what it is. For the sake of a pick, I guess it's going to be Isaac. I don't want anything to do with this fight, man. I'm not high on either one of these guys, man. For the sake of the pick, it's Isaac, though, man. Another prospect versus prospect, and nobody should be too overly invested in this. And yes, could you guess what's coming up next to cap off the prelims as of yet? It's where the motherfucking fight is sitting at, and that is Jacqueline versus Vanessa. Everybody should already know that the dog play is going to be on Vanessa. I cashed with her at plus 310 in my parlays, plus 300 in my parlays, and again at plus 290 in my parlays when she came up against Emily. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I know one thing has nothing to do with the other. These two young women have a similar opponent in common in Sam Hughes. Jacqueline lost to Sam Hughes via unanimous decision. We're on the other side of things. Vanessa, she got Sam Hughes out of there inside the distance via a triangle choke submission or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I know one thing has nothing to do with the other, man. But it is all worth consideration in my personal opinion. Jacqueline is 8-1. Up against opposition with combined records of 36 wins and 17 losses. Just not a great level of opposition as of yet. Vanessa, 11-5, up against opposition with combined records of 105 wins and 41 losses. The level of opposition has been a bit higher than that of what Jacqueline has had to face. I stated that they have a similar opponent in common in Sam Hughes. Jacqueline lost via unanimous decision. Vanessa won via triangle choke submission or some kind of submission inside the distance to get her up out of there. And like I said, I know one thing has absolutely nothing to do with the other, but the dog play is on Vanessa yet again, just like on Ovin St. Preux. Yet again, man, I called cash with Ovin at plus 500. I cashed with Vanessa at plus 310, 300, and 290 as I wrapped her up in multiple parlays. You understand what I'm saying to you? It was just a single dog play on Ovin St. Preux at plus 500. You know what I mean? But Vanessa's the pick, man. Lima versus Santos. Yes, we have prospect versus prospect. Andre Lima versus old boy Santos. It's going to be very competitive. It's going to be very technical until it's not. And Andre Lima, you know, gets him the fuck up out of there via clipping and disconnecting him from his consciousness. But with that being said, this may go the full 15 minutes. It may go the whole distance. And I do still take Andre Lima to be the cleaner, crisper, bit more technical, bit more composed individual out of these two. It's going to produce the better all-around body of work over the course of 15 minutes to secure the victory via unanimous decision if it goes the distance. You know what I mean? Prospect versus prospect. Yet again, we have Nelson versus Garcia, and I'm going to go ahead and side with Garcia to be the one to get this one done. In some way, shape, form, or fashion. I would love to see a KO, TKO, you know, disconnected from consciousness type situation in round 1 from Steve Garcia. But I could see it coming in round 2 as well. Listen, Kyle's tough. Kyle's tough. He's solid. You know, he's well-rounded. But I do believe Garcia, I do believe Steve to be a bit more dangerous, more powerful, faster, and he's well-rounded and solid in his own right. You understand what I'm saying to you? All the finishing ability comes from Steve. And with that being said, I could also see Steve getting it done via unanimous decision, just by clipping this man and maybe not disconnecting him from his consciousness, but hurting him multiple times in this matchup. You know what I mean? Either way you look at it, Steve's the pick. And yes, yet again, it is prospect versus prospect. We have Trevor Peek, a guy who everybody knows I am not high on in any way, shape, form, or fashion. and then Yanal. What a fucking shit show. You know what I'm saying? Listen, it is what it is. You can call this a fade pick. You can call this whatever you want. You don't have to rock with me on this one. You don't have to rock with me on any of them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go ahead and side with you. Nah, man. Fuck it. Peak 9-2 up against opposition with combined records of 99 wins, 48 losses. Yanal 7-1 up against opposition with combined records of 44 wins, 9 losses. Peak has a couple more fights on his side than that of Yanal, but you know, I'm just not high on either one of these guys, man. I am not high on either one of these guys in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Peak is horrendous in my personal opinion, man. His approach to the fight is just reckless, you know what I'm saying? The way he pursues individuals in the striking department, in anything, man, just anywhere. His all-around body of work is just fucking sloppy to me, you know what I mean? And when he came in and he was undefeated and motherfuckers was a bit hype on him based off of that sloppy shit he was doing and getting away with, I told him what my baby Chepe was going to do to him. Like I told motherfuckers what was going to happen to this young man. You know what I'm talking about? And fucking Yanal. Huh? I'm taking Yanal, man. I don't like Peak, man. I don't like Peak in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Fuck a Trevor Peak. You know what I'm talking about? Can't say that I much like Yanal either. You know what I'm talking about? The all-around body of work from both of these individuals is just not impressive to me. But the slightly more powerful and more technical out of the two, in my personal opinion, is Yanal. So that's who I'm gonna side with. Schnell versus Costa, man. Jesus. Fucking Schnell. Give me Costa, man. And give me Costa to get Schnell the fuck up out of here. You know what I mean? In some way, shape, form, or fashion, man. I don't necessarily believe that Schnell is going to survive the full 15 minutes for this thing to go the distance. But if it does, then it would be Costa by unanimous decision. But I really think he's going to knock out or submit Schnell, in my personal opinion. Either way, Costa's the pick. And Silva's the pick against Jessica Andrade, just to produce the better all-around body of work over the course of 15 minutes for a unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1. I would not be surprised if there was a 3 rounds to 1 in there. I mean, a 3 rounds to none in there, as Natalia Silva is going to produce the better body of work absolutely everywhere against Jessica Andrade. You know, bar getting, you know, dumped on her fucking head like Rose and knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily believe that Natalia Silva would find herself in that situation. Their body frames match up very well, where Rose was a bit slimmer and a bit longer. You know what I'm talking about? Natalia Silva's not going to really have that problem with Jessica Andrade. I think these 2 young women are going to be nose to nose, eye to eye, neck to neck. You know what I'm talking about? So, it's going to be a bit harder for her to find the hips on Natalia than it would have been for her to find on Rose and to get in there and into it, you know, locked into a intertwined situation where she could dump her on her motherfucking head like that. You know what I'm talking about? I just think Natalia's going to separate herself and show us exactly how good she really is in this matchup this coming Saturday. You know what I'm talking about? Main event, man. Burns versus Brady. And, damn, this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. It is the main event. Y'all know how I feel about that. This is a tough one, man. This is a real tough one for me. And I'm going to go with the dog. I believe Gilbert Burns is the slight dog. And I'm going to go ahead and take him, you know. Brady good, man. Brady's very fucking good. He's very solid. He's very well-rounded. He's strong. Stronger in some areas than in others, but that can be said about just about everybody in this motherfucking game. I just don't necessarily know where he separates himself from somebody like Gilbert Burns, though. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? Like we saw what happened to him when he took that next step up against old boy. And granted, old boy is who he is, right? That was Bilal, I believe, that beat him the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And Bilal is who he is. You know what I mean? So you can't really frown on Brady about that. But Burns is who Burns is too. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? And if we catch Burns, you know, on a good day, it could be a very bad night for Sean Brady. You know what I'm talking about? If we catch Burns on a bad day, then it could be a very competitive matchup for both of these individuals on Saturday. You know what I mean? I just don't necessarily know where Sean Brady separates himself, man, because I don't feel like, fuck, almost dropped that. I don't feel like, playing that wrestle game and trying to motherfucking roll around and search for submissions in that jiu-jitsu department with Gilbert Burns is really the game he's gonna want to play. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's a dangerous fucking game to play, especially if Brady comes out there and tries to play it early while they're dry. You know what I mean? I know he's confident in his side as far as the jiu-jitsu department goes and the wrestling and the grappling goes, but there's levels to this shit, and I hate to see him get exposed even by not necessarily in their prime Gilbert Burns. You know what I'm saying? Like, Gilbert Burns' best days are behind him in my personal opinion, but I also kind of feel like we've already seen Sean Brady's best days. You feel what I'm saying to you? Like, not to say that he's not living in his best days anymore and he's not in his prime anymore, because he's very much in his prime in my personal opinion, but he's also very much reached that ceiling inside the UFC, which is a very respectable ceiling. You know what I mean? When you start losing to individuals like Bilal Muhammad, take a loss to Gilbert Burns and shit like that, it's nothing to frown upon. You know what I'm saying? Sean Brady may show up. He may, lock up and secure takedowns and stay safe on top and produce the better body of work over the course of 15 minutes. But that is something I will have to see to believe against Gilbert Burns, man. Some of these individuals still have some proven grounds to cover, in my personal opinion, before they are listed as favorites over some of these veterans. But that's just me, man. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna go ahead and be done with this. That was the full card breakdown and predictions. And we're staying in the motherfucking apex for this one. One of the fights scrapped from last night has been pushed forward to this one. And that's the first fight of the night as of right now, with Ramoska versus Fletcher. And we are siding with Fletcher this go around. Then we are siding with Oven St. Preux over Span, Padilla over Rong Zhu, Gabrielle over Yizza, Andre over Dylan, Isaac over Brendan, Vanessa over Jacqueline, Andre over Santos, or Lima over Santos, Garcia over Nelson, Yanal over Peak, Costa over Schnell, Silva over Andrade, and Burns over Brady, man. And listen, I'm highly confident in Silva, Costa, Garcia, Padilla, where we at on this joint? Andre. Like, I'm confident that Padilla gets it done over Rozu, man. I'm confident that motherfucking Petrowski gets it done over Dylan. Lima gets it done over Santos. Garcia gets it done over Nelson. Costa gets it done over Schnell. Silva gets it done over Andrade. I have questions on Burn versus Brady. I have questions on Yanal versus Peak. I have questions on Isaac versus Brendan. I have questions on Gabrielle versus Yizza. You feel what I'm saying to you? I have questions on Ramoska versus Fletcher. You know what I mean? I'm confident in Span as a dog. I'm confident in Vanessa as a dog. I'm confident in Padilla as a dog. You understand what I'm saying to you? But, it is what it is, man. There's the ones I'm confident on. There's the ones I got question marks on. And that's that with that, man. That's the full card breakdown and predictions for Burns versus Brady. Staying in the Apex. Appreciate y'all for tapping in.